Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to be exploring how technology is opening up some incredible new possibilities for neurodiversity and cognitive support.
So let's start with a really big question. What if technology could reshape our world to fit every mind? We're exploring how assistive tech is moving way beyond just being a simple aid. These are becoming powerful tools for empowerment, for building skills, and even for fostering empathy. The goal isn't just to accommodate different minds anymore, it's to actively augment them.
All right, first things first, let's make sure we're all on the same page. When we talk about neurodiversity, we're coming from a place that sees conditions like autism and ADHD not as deficits that need to be fixed, but as totally natural variations in the human brain. And that perspective, it's absolutely crucial because it completely shifts the goal from normalizing people to actually supporting them.
Now, the other side of this coin is neurocognitive disorders. This is when there's a decline in how someone's brain functions compared to how it used to, maybe because of a traumatic brain injury or a disease like Alzheimer's. And this is where technology can play such a critical role, helping to compensate for lost functions and, really importantly, maintain a person's independence.
So, all these different ways of thinking and processing, they create some really unique needs. Let's start by looking at the amazing new tools being developed to meet them.
So, what does this new frontier of support actually look like? Well, let's open up the digital toolkit and see what's inside. This toolkit is just incredibly diverse. For someone with ADHD or maybe recovering from a brain injury, a simple mobile app, it's not just a calendar. It is a critical lifeline that gives them the structure and reminders they need to navigate daily life. We're even seeing these serious games that aren't just for fun, they're actually targeted cognitive training, basically turning therapy into a really engaging challenge.
And what's so cool is that these tools are responding to very real, very specific needs. This chart, for instance, shows us that for a lot of neurodiverse people, just a sudden change of plans can be a huge trigger for anxiety. Now, imagine a wearable device that detects your heart rate starting to climb from that stress, and it prompts you with a calming strategy, right in that exact moment. That's the why behind all this tech.
Of course, it's not always a smooth ride. This quote really highlights a key barrier. Some people, and especially older adults, can be pretty hesitant about using new tech. But getting past that hesitation is so important because the potential here is massive. We're talking about a promising, non-drug approach to manage not just cognitive issues, but also really challenging behaviors like apathy, which can be so difficult to treat otherwise.
And, among all these new tools, there's one that really stands out for its sheer potential: virtual reality. Its power is in creating these fully immersive, totally controlled environments where people can learn and practice skills in a way that's just, it's not possible anywhere else. I want you to think of it like a flight simulator, but for social situations. An autistic person can pop into a virtual team meeting and practice things like conversation, eye contact, and reading social cues. The whole time, the system is capturing data on their performance and even their stress levels. And then, afterward, they can watch a replay with a therapist, breaking down the entire interaction in a completely safe space without any of the high-stakes pressure you'd feel if you made a mistake in the real world.
VR can also be used to train some really specific cognitive skills, like navigation. Now, to get this, you need to know the two main ways our brains find their way around. First, there's egocentric navigation. That's all about your own position, like turn left at the coffee machine. Then there's allocentric, which is about the relationship between different objects, like the meeting room is between the lobby and the kitchen. And it turns out, VR tasks that use both are incredibly effective at spotting the difference between healthy aging and early cognitive decline.
And the results from these kinds of interventions? They can be absolutely dramatic. In one study with older adults who were experiencing cognitive decline, the group that went through VR training saw significant, measurable improvements in key areas like planning and how fast they could process information, way more than the group that didn't. This isn't just theoretical, it's a real, tangible impact on brain function.
But, and this is a big but, this technology is not some kind of magic bullet. So let's take a step back, get a reality check, and look at the key challenges and cautions we really need to keep in mind.
Okay, so here's the deal. It's absolutely crucial to understand that while the promise is huge, the research field here is still very, very young. So when you see those exciting headlines, just remember that a lot of the studies behind them have really small sample sizes or they don't have proper control groups. Now, that doesn't mean the results are wrong, but it does mean we can't generalize them to everybody, at least not yet.
Then you've got the practical barriers. What does a score of over 20 even mean?
Well, in one VR therapy study, that was the average disorientation score, and anything over 20 is officially considered a problem. I mean, think about it. If the therapy itself is making you feel sick or dizzy, you're probably not going to stick with it, right?
But maybe the most critical caution of all is an ethical one. There is a very fine line between providing support and enforcing conformity. We have to constantly be asking ourselves, are these tools empowering people to navigate the world on their own terms? Or are they being misused to try and correct their personalities to fit some kind of neurotypical mold?
And all of this, it brings us to what might be the most important takeaway of all. What's beyond the code, beyond the hardware? Well, it's the human connection.
Look, the most effective interventions, and honestly, the most ethical ones, use technology as a bridge, not as a replacement for human connection. It's about augmenting a person's abilities, supporting their independence, and making communication easier, all while fundamentally respecting who they are as a person. Ultimately, the challenge here isn't just about building cooler tech. It's about co-designing a more inclusive world with neurodiverse individuals right at the heart of that design process. The goal is a future where technology doesn't just help people cope, but helps every single mind truly thrive on its own terms.